And that is a great segue for me to move into our next speaker, who, for anybody who's ever been around the JUCE forum or on our Discord, needs no introduction. His name is Daniel Walz, and he is probably one of the most knowledgeable people about the JUCE framework that I know personally, and I know quite a few people. And he has worked at Rowland and also Synchro Arts here in the UK, but now he has moved back to Germany, and he is flying his own banner, Foleys Finest Audio. He has a lot of great examples of JUCE code. If you're looking how to make a great delay or great equalizer, you can check out his GitHub on github.com /ffaudio. I have that memorized. That's how often I visit it. So yes, he is. He's a legend in the JUCE world, to put it short, to put it bluntly. So with that, I will pass it on to Daniel, and he's going to talk about visual UI programming using CSS layouts with his great invention called PluginGUIMagic. So take it away, Daniel.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, thanks for having me, and yeah, for this opportunity to talk to all you people out there. Yeah, it's great to be on that community. So it sounds like a lot of work when you introduced me, but it's actually quite a lot of fun to have the interchange of ideas and circulate stuff. So yeah, it's awesome, the communities that you have. So let me start right with my little presentation. Should probably first press share my screen. That would help. Here we are. All right, so I want to talk about GUIs. First, the question, what is a GUI? And here's a little bit of an overview, but let me maybe just jump right in. Those are the different points that you will recognize later on. So what is a GUI? Why do we do that? We use our ears. We work not visual. But the GUI is actually a great way to communicate, to visualize the information. So we have our ears free to hear what we are actually manipulate. It allows us to change all the values in our code, or the values for the user if they want to boost or so yeah, it's basically the main manipulation if you don't have a hardware controller. But then there is also a more subtle layer when you create your artworks. For instance, you've seen that with Sinan's great presentation, he had great background images which conveyed the idea behind it. Like I love the pipe works in your thermal modeling. Yeah. All right, so yeah, those were the ones that came to mind for me. That you might want to have a very scientific look if you want to stand for precision and for numerical preciseness. But also you might have a comic like the sausage fattener thingy, where you have this sausage becoming fat or thin, where actually the exact numbers don't play any role. Or you may want to have it as a worthy vintage gear with woodworks around, or that it looks like an old 1176 or something. That's always something that people would look out for. So how do we make a GUI? So I just put in some random code here from a project I made 5 years ago. And you see, you might probably recognize it's a lot of magic numbers, even though the rectangle class is from JUCE, makes it very easy to create stuff. It's not very visual. So for me, what I wanted to do is use more advanced technique. And when you came across the internet, if you've seen how people do some web designs, they don't write font sizes and all those things for each word, but rather you would use some kind of markup. That's actually in the name HTML. So what you do is you say, this is of a certain type, and later on you define that type should always be rendered in red or some things like that. So the JUCE has the look and feels for that, for the coloring. So a little bit is there, but actually the technology on the web is way more advanced. So they use things like Flexbox, and we get later to that one. It's important to separate the layout information from the text or the code, because then you can tweak that later on and you don't have to worry if that all still fits together. Then there is a technique that's called cascading style sheets, which is very important because that allows you to inherit certain information. Again, that's something that is possible with the look and feel classes, and you might be aware that it has the lookup to check always for the look and feel of the parent. But again, that only goes in one direction, and the CSS is actually way more powerful. That's why I employed that in my system now. And I think that is probably a good moment to interrupt the slides and actually jump into Xcode, because yeah, I was talking about GUIs now, but actually what I wanted to show you is the plugin GUIMagic. So let me just jump to the Produce and walk you through what to do. It's pretty simple. Create a new project. Give it a name. So, and that's it basically. Create the project in the playgrounds. Yep. And the only thing you want to do is to add the module from a specific folder, because you should download from my GitHub that Josh already mentioned. I think I got it here. Yeah, let me just grab it from here. Just make sure that the name is always identical. Sometimes GitHub, if you download it, it says dot and the branch name. So make sure that's not the case. And oh, you see, we are missing some modules, and that's fixed. It was the DSP and the cryptography using the MD5 hash. So those are required as well. Okay, so and that's basically all we. Oh no, you can of course get rid of the editor. Let's save one step. Put it to trash. And there we are. And basically, that's all you need to do to. Oh, that was a lie. Because you need to remove some references. But basically, all you need to do is to remove the creation and let the new module do those things. And let's remove that as well, because there is some code that takes care of that. And we simply don't inherit the JUCE audio processor, but Foleys Magic processor. All right, we need that again, right here. There we go. And we can do one more thing. If you look at the, here is one line, I marked that already. I'm going to explain that later, what that is for. And basically now we can start designing. Let's hope my little Intel is, I was too quick. Yep. Obviously, I have to remove that encode as well. Yeah, you always forget something. All right, here we go. That's the warning from the template. You probably all recognize The fan spins off, 99 degrees, almost boiling. The eggs are done.
I told Daniel before the meetup about how brave he is for doing this live. So,
well, so far, wasn't that bad.
just a few bumps in the road, nothing unexpected.
It would be too boring if everything worked.
I know.
The compiling takes so long that it's a little bit concerning, but well, just buy a new computer. And here we are. So what we get is the normal template, and here you get this floating little toolbox. You can make that a little bit bigger if we detach that. And keep it on top. So this is basically the document model, the DOM tree, like you would know it from JS or from HTML. So you can always put stuff in here. For instance, we have the slider class, and we simply drag that in here, and we get a slider here, fully functional. And we also get the chance to style that here, give it a color, hang on, background color, a border color. Well, obviously that's not going to work unless I give it a border. We can do that as well. That was not what I planned, but then we have a red border. Well, looks ugly, but yeah, wasn't my intention. Can just get rid of it, and this time use the actual background color. That was what I was going to show. So and can get a lot of those. It has an auto mode, by the way, so it would choose whatever fits the layout. So that's already kind of responsive, but we get later to that term. So yeah, that is basically the beginning of all. But this is a little bit empty. So to make it more interesting, we wouldn't want to connect to functionality. So here there are no parameters available. That's why I have some playground projects that we can also load. This one is actually all open source, the PluginGUIMagic examples. You can download them and start playing around with them immediately. So let's use the Foleys synth. That's probably the one that makes most fun at the moment. So let's play with that one.
You need the Jeopardy theme song when these build.
Yeah, 4 of 20 tasks. Yeah. All right, here we are. And basically, if you look at the code, okay, it's I made that with a CMake, so there's that's a little bit more cluttered. But here's the synth. You can see it only has synth class. It doesn't have any editor class, so you really don't have to code anything for the editor. That all comes with a module. So, and basically this is all functional here. I don't know if that's connected now.
Yep, you're all good.
Oh, okay, nice. It's not as picky as Ableton. Okay, so that all is all already connected. This is just a simple overtones row, so that's pretty simple. And here again, you have all those classes that you can pick from. You have the label. Where is that actually? If I want to see that, I can just click here. Ah, here. That's the label. So yeah, you can get all that together without coding. And I think that is a good moment to come back to the slides. So let's continue at that point later. So what you've seen is we have this document model and all the different informations. Actually, let me show you a little bit of the classes already. For instance, when we have this sliders here, actually this one. Let's use this one. You see here, there's the class harmonic. So what is a class in a CSS? A class is actually just a list of a named value set, basically, that keeps different informations. So for instance, let's see, for here we see all properties that are available anywhere. And this is the caption of the view. So let's open the here, the decorator. Sorry, I'm caption color. That's what I wanted to do. So if you change here, everything that references this harmonic class will automatically follow. So you don't have to look up in code and copy and paste the color everywhere. You simply use use it in one place, and everything follows that. So I think that is already a pretty strong argument not to do everything in code. So those are the CSS classes. Yeah, you can use it basically everywhere. That was what I was missing. Now let's get back to the responsive layout. Responsive layout is actually something that became more important now with the changing sizes of screens. Back then, when everybody had 640 by 400 or CGA, there was no problem. But today we have 4K, we have the Retina, we have the older machines. So everybody has different sizes of screens. So we cannot just use pixels and pretend that it looks everywhere the same, that it still has a proper communication. So stuff, if you have not enough screen estate, you need to remove detail, or you need to change how stuff is layouted. And the web is actually the place where the technology got so much improved. So we can learn a lot from there. And JUCE did so by adding the flexbox to create rules how stuff is placed. And I can show you that. This one is all created by flexbox. And we simply check here. So we have the items in the flexbox, and we have the container. Why is it? Shouldn't be that apart. But yeah, so here we see this. Okay, it's done as a flexbox, and we can simply change that to column, and nothing happens. Yeah, great idea. Yeah, because I wanted to edit this one. So if we change that to column, it will start to arrange stuff differently. So this is how Flexbox works. But the great thing is it reacts to screen changes. So like this one. I have a better example for that. So let me quickly fire up the equalizer example. So some people might be familiar with there it is, sorry. All right, so this one, some people might know the frequalizer that is out there as some code, and many people use that as inspiration. So here you can see there are a lot of knobs, but actually that is redundant information because you can all move that up here. So what I did was to remove that when the screen becomes too small. And again, that is not something that that is in the code, but that is actually done with CSS classes here. Let's check what we have here. And there is the collapse class. And when I look here, you see this is has the max width of 650, and the height I kept just as it was, as big as it wants. So if the width becomes smaller than 650, this collapse class will start to act. And yeah, that is the different one. What it actually does is, if you check here, the container, here we have the display tab. If the size is bigger, this class stops working. So this this display is no longer overruled, but it's actually the default set here, which is in here. This one is collapsed and hidden. So those are the two classes that work. But like I said, the collapse class would only work when it's smaller than a certain size. And the hidden class, we can check what that does. But you probably guessed it already. The hidden class. If we check here the container, well, first we check the class. Yep, when the height becomes smaller than 450 pixels, it will do something. And basically, find here, the flex grow will set to 0. That means flex is now allowed to pick all the size, all the screen estate from this view. So, and it's gone. So this is responsible, responsive layouts, and how you do them with the plugin GUIMagic. And that is something that is a quite nice thing to do in your plugins. And yeah, you can do that at runtime. You don't need to care during programming, recompiling, checking how it works, and going back to code. I think that's a good way to create those things. Another thing that this does is the model view separation. The view is our editor and doesn't know anything. You've seen it doesn't even have code. So everything is basically in the processor, and that is good because of persistency. If you wouldn't keep that in the processor, it would be, all the information would be gone each time when you close the window. So basically, there is a little class which is called the Magic GUI state. Basically, we have this little GUI state where we can add things. And for instance, our analyzer, because you've seen in the other example that we can create all those oscilloscopes, and you need to pump the samples somewhere into. And this is what this magic state is for. And you can see that in the process block. We simply push the samples into, and again in the output analyzer. And that's basically all. The framework will then analyze the samples and create a plot that you can simply display. Maybe I can show you again in the synth. There it's a little bit easier to see. Here we have this view with the oscillators. With the plots. And basically, in this magic state, we announced there is an analyzer, and here in this plot, we can select that what to display. So the analyzer is one thing to display, and the waveform is the other one. I have them both here in different nodes and just layered over each other. So that's how you can all see that. Yeah, that's a little bit a showcase of what's possible here. Let me see in my slides what I have as well. Oh yeah, actually, I already jumped on that. So there are the visualizations available. There's an oscilloscope, there's an analyzer, and we have the frequency plots that you've seen. That's actually a feature from JUCE, so I shouldn't take credit for that. It's simply calculating the frequency response from the coefficients of simple IR filters. So I'm not that strong in DSP, so I just used what's there in the DSP module. And there are the other components, the XY dragger you've seen already. I created a drum pad I can show you. If you simply drum pad component, there it is. That's quite handy for sounds that should react on mouse down, because somebody realized that a text button is just not suitable to trigger sounds. So you need something like that. And because it's connecting to the keyboard state, it's always in sync with that one. So yeah, that's basically what's possible there. And yeah, basically, yeah, that's already all I wanted to show. I think it's even more interesting to hear your questions and suggestions. So if there's something you like to see there, and if there's something where I think, well, that wouldn't work for my use case, let me hear it, and let's see if that's possible or not. All right.
There you are. Yeah, thank you very much. Nice, short and sweet. I like it. So there were a couple questions. So there was a question about editing the values. So are those in XML format where you can just edit those by hand if you wish, or in JSON or in CSS, or how is that?
So that's all in value trees.
Okay.
From value tree, you can edit or anything. Can put this sharing on again.
Yep.
Basically here in the resource files. Okay, seems I cannot see it in here, but well, let's simply use the here. This is the XML file that will be added to the resources.
Nice.
And basically everything is in there. First are the styles. They would normally be in the CSS JSON-like format, but I just put it together with the other information into the value tree, because that's way more convenient to have it in one file. And here then is so that means that you also can create a value tree on the fly, just from the information given. And actually, that's something that I didn't show you yet, but we can simply do that. Equalizer example. This function, if we simply comment that out, and in the header as well. There we go. Yeah, I edited the equalizer, so that wouldn't work. Let me run the equalizer. All right. What's happening now is it will generate that value tree. So this is a default layout. It simply reads what parameters are there. So it starts with the plots, and because there are so many, it would show them. And then in the other one, it also uses the parameter groups. So the first parameter group Q1, and there are all those different buttons. And you could start use that as a starting point and start moving stuff around. For instance, move that in here. But yeah, let's get rid of that one for the moment. So to have that side by side would be one option. So this auto-generated you can use that, because otherwise you need to drag a slider for every single thing. But in this case, you can just use that and drag it around, and it changes the order immediately. So yeah, that's another feature with the value trees. So yeah,
very nice.
So yeah, more questions.
Yeah, so I have a very quick question. So, but the actual UI components themselves, you couldn't generate those from. You would have to make those in. You'd have to make your own classes of sliders and everything. You couldn't just generate those from plugin GUIMagic. Is that right?
Well, basically the plugin GUIMagic simply wraps the existing JUCE ones. So that were all simple JUCE sliders. And there's a wrapper around that draws the decorations like the border and all those things. And you can also wrap your own classes in there. I mean, there's
so if I was starting from scratch, I would need to create a slider first.
Well, you have the JUCE sliders.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying if I just built a blank JUCE project, I can't just say, okay, I want a slider, I want a dial here or anything, and then just place it around the screen. You couldn't. That wouldn't be possible, right?
Maybe that. Maybe I don't understand the question, but
yeah. So let's say I had a blank JUCE project.
Yeah.
And that I built the project with plugin GUIMagic.
Yeah.
And then I say, okay, I want to create a slider, and I want the slider to be this color. I want it to be this type of slider. You can do that from.
Absolutely. I click the share again. That was the first example that I showed. The playground. That was a completely empty thing, and all you have to do is just pick a slider here.
Oh,
in.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that. Holy cow.
And another one. That one is, I don't know. So yeah, and then let's add a meter there. Well, it's not connected to anything. That's why it doesn't show anything. So it's a bad example. Basically, yeah, let's have a button. So this one already works. Let's click the button and give it a text. So that works as well. And so was that the question, or?
Yep, that was the question. And then Wave Sequencer, Paul Carter, he has a related question, which is, so to override the graphic elements for custom slider and knob look and feel, you would still have to do that in code. Is that correct?
There are some look and feels already available. So if we click here on the, hang on, shouldn't have it direct. In the decorator, sorry. Yeah. So I can, you've seen here that it was this one. I can already use the ones that are with JUCE, and hang on, let me just remove some stuff, because so there are some additional ones that are created. So far only some rotaries. I should probably select it. So yeah, those are the it would be a nice idea to have like a shop where you could add additional look and feels, but I mean,
yeah.
And
just add Photoshop while you're at it. Right.
I added the Knopman option, so you can use film strips with that as well. So I'm not a big fan of that.
Cool. And I saw that you said that you were getting used to CMake there. So this does work with CMake as well. Is that right? Yeah. Great. Yeah, that looks like that's all of the questions that we have. I think everybody is just pretty amazed what you've created here. It seems pretty, seems very useful. And
it is, yeah.
Yeah, I think so as well. Great. So I think that's it. That's all the questions that I have from the viewers. And so I think it's a good time to wrap up. Thank you very much, Sinan and Danielle, for your presentations. Yes, thank you very much. Two very awesome presentations.